The U.S. military used Claude in airstrikes against Iran, just hours after Trump banned all federal agencies from using Anthropic. Trump called Anthropic a radical left AI company and ordered an immediate cutoff. ChatGPT uninstalls surged 295% after OpenAI signed a Pentagon deal. Alibaba open-sourced a full AI agent workstation. Cursor just hit $2 billion in annual revenue. And Google is about to let Gemini control your phone completely. Let's break it all down. Alright, let's start with the biggest story because the timing here is genuinely shocking. On Friday, President Trump ordered all federal agencies to immediately stop using Anthropic's AI systems. He called the company a radical left AI company run by people who have no idea what the real world is all about. The order was clear: cut all ties, effective immediately. And then, just hours later, the U.S. military launched a massive joint operation with Israel against Iran. And according to multiple reports, they used Claude throughout the entire operation, for intelligence analysis, target selection, and battlefield simulations. Let that sink in. The commander-in-chief says stop using this AI, and the military keeps using it anyway because they literally cannot function without it. This is not speculation. Sources told The Guardian and Interesting Engineering that Claude was embedded so deeply into classified military systems that pulling it out mid-operation would have been catastrophic. One defense official previously admitted, "The only reason we're still talking to these people is we need them. The problem is they're that good." This follows weeks of escalating conflict between the Pentagon and Anthropic over AI safeguards. Anthropic has consistently refused to let Claude be used for mass surveillance of Americans or fully autonomous weapons. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth gave CEO Dario Amodei an ultimatum. Amodei refused. And now we have a situation where a banned AI is running military operations. The Pentagon has since designated Anthropic a supply chain risk, a classification normally reserved for companies connected to foreign adversaries. But the irony is obvious: how can Claude be both a national security threat and essential to national security? So let's talk about what actually happened with this ban. Trump's Truth Social post came Friday evening, and it was brutal. He accused Anthropic of trying to personally control the U.S. military and putting America's safety at risk. He directed every federal agency to drop Anthropic's products immediately. The backstory goes back months. Anthropic has a firm ethics policy: no mass surveillance of Americans, no fully autonomous weapons. When the Pentagon demanded Claude be available for all lawful purposes, meaning anything legal regardless of ethics, Dario Amodei said no. That refusal triggered a government-wide response. The Pentagon started asking defense contractors like Boeing and Lockheed Martin to assess their exposure to Anthropic. They even threatened to invoke the Defense Production Act to force Anthropic to comply. Emil Michael, the Pentagon's Undersecretary for Research and Engineering, went on X and called Amodei a liar with a god complex. It got personal fast. Meanwhile, Anthropic employees started publicly supporting their CEO. One wrote, "History is unfolding in front of us. It's now obvious why Anthropic's founding was a crucial fork in the timeline." The company says it will legally challenge the supply chain risk designation. This fight is far from over. While Anthropic is fighting the government, OpenAI is embracing it, and their users are not happy. ChatGPT uninstalls surged 295% after OpenAI signed a Pentagon contract. The Quit GPT movement that started a few weeks ago over Greg Brockman's political donations has now merged with anti-military AI sentiment. Remember, this boycott already had 700,000 users pledging to cancel their ChatGPT Plus subscriptions. Now it's even bigger. The narrative has shifted from OpenAI leadership supports politics I disagree with, to OpenAI is helping build military AI while Anthropic refuses. The irony is not lost on anyone. Just months ago, OpenAI was seen as the cautious company with safety concerns. Anthropic was the startup that split off because they thought OpenAI was not careful enough. Now OpenAI is signing Pentagon deals while Anthropic is being designated a national security risk for having ethics. Users are switching to Claude in droves. Claude hit #1 on the App Store last week, overtaking ChatGPT for the first time. And now we know why. Now let's shift to something more positive. Alibaba just open-sourced CoPaw, a full-featured AI agent workstation for developers. If you've been following the agent space, this is significant. CoPaw is not just another chatbot wrapper. It's a complete framework for deploying personal AI agents with persistent memory, multi-channel connectivity, and task scheduling. The architecture is built on 3 layers. AgentScope handles the agent logic and communication. AgentScope Runtime manages execution and resources. And REAM, their memory management module, handles both local and cloud-based memory so agents can maintain long-term context. What's clever is the skills system. You can drop Python functions into a custom directory and the agent can invoke them to interact with the world, web scraping, file management, API calls, whatever you need. It follows Anthropic's skills specification, so there's some standardization happening. This matters because the agent ecosystem is still fragmented. Everyone's building their own frameworks, their own memory systems, their own tool integrations. Open source projects like CoPaw push the whole field forward by establishing patterns that work. If you're building AI agents, this is worth checking out on GitHub. Speaking of AI development tools, Cursor just hit a massive milestone. The AI coding assistant has surpassed $2 billion in annualized revenue, according to Bloomberg. Even more impressive, that number doubled in just 3 months. This disclosure seems intentionally timed. Last week, tweets went viral questioning whether Cursor was losing momentum to Claude code. High-profile developers were publicly switching, and the narrative was shifting. But here's what those tweets missed. Cursor has pivoted from individual developers to enterprise customers. Corporate clients now account for 60% of their revenue. And enterprises don't switch tools because of Twitter drama. They have contracts, integrations, and compliance requirements. The AI coding market is heating up fast. You've got Cursor, Claude Code, OpenAI's Codex, Replit, Cognition, and Lovable all competing. Cursor was last valued at $29.3 billion after raising $2.3 billion in November. $2 billion in annual revenue from a 4-year-old startup building AI coding tools. The velocity here is unprecedented. And finally, let's talk about where all of this is heading, because Google just showed us a preview. At the Galaxy S26 launch, Google announced that Gemini will soon be able to perform multi-step tasks on your phone completely autonomously. You tell it to order pizza, and it opens the app, selects your order, enters payment, and completes the purchase. No human intervention required. This is rolling out first on the Pixel 10 and Galaxy S26 through a partnership between Google and Samsung. They've built something called App Functions that integrates Gemini with Calendar, Notes, Tasks, and Gallery, and eventually third-party apps. The demo showed Gemini jumping into a family group chat, reading a conversation about dinner, and autonomously ordering from a pizza app. You can watch what it's doing the whole time and interrupt if needed. It asks for confirmation before making purchases. But here's the trajectory. Right now, Gemini asks permission for important actions. The explicit goal is for it to eventually make decisions independently. Google's Android lead talked about intelligent operating systems, not AI assistants, operating systems. We're watching the transition from AI as a tool you use to AI as an agent that uses your tools. The phone becomes the interface between the AI and the physical world. So that's where we are. The US government is simultaneously trying to ban AI safety and use that same AI for military operations. Users are fleeing ChatGPT for the company being punished for having ethics. And Google is building phones where AI controls everything. The AI wars are not slowing down. They're accelerating. What do you think? Is Anthropic right to hold the line on military AI, or is this a fight they cannot win? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Hit like and subscribe for more breakdowns like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.